Hello, my name is Control Jones and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am making a video over a reaction really to what the CIA declassified, the documents that was declassified by the White House Trump CIA documents. So basically it's a reaction. I'm going to read over an overview over it that I made. And yeah, so declassified CIA documents confirms China weaponized U.S. corporations. They turned American business leaders against a sitting president to sabotage his re-election. So during the formal presidential address, Trump read directly from declassified CIA documents. The reports detailed Chinese government operations targeting U.S. elections and starting mid-2018. So it says the report states that mid-2018, the Chinese Communist Party's policy was to leverage all domestic and foreign elements to basically oppose the U.S. president in any effort to reduce his votes and make him resign or prevent his re-election. And then also, it wasn't just limited to his presidency. Also, according to the documents, China also worked to influence the results of 2018 U.S. midterms, and then going back, it pivoted towards the 2020 presidential race. And by the way, you can also Google this as well. I believe it's on the whitehouse.org site. So this isn't just me just making stuff up. And hopefully this is, I'm assuming it's credible because it's coming from them. But at the end of the day, you know, if you don't believe, you don't believe. But continuing on, this is the focus became undermining domestic confidence in the U.S. president by shaping public perception through media and corporate channels. So it states that China used contacts with major U.S. companies to pressure American business leaders and to turn turn against the president, the United States. So it basically, you know, it's really a lot of different things going on here. So it's CCP policy to oppose the sitting president, you know, check. Targeting of the midterms and the 2020 election, you know, check. Strategy to erode public trust, check. You know, corporate influence and all that other stuff, check. But it doesn't say anything about the voting, you know, no ballot fraud, no election hacking. It doesn't say anything about that. So that's still up for investigation if they ever do find anything about it. You know, I'm sure Trump will release that information, I have no doubt, because he wants to present himself as the best, you know, perfect person in the sense of presidency. But that's not the case. Obviously, speaking as a Christian who voted for him, I know he's not perfect. I know he's not saved. So there's going to be some things he's going to do that's not holy. There's going to be some things he's do that's self-centered as well. And so I believe my reaction to this was, I've said I voted for Trump, and I was always somewhat sympathetic towards him, not because I was, you know, brainwashed, not because I was confused, not because I didn't believe, you know, the reports coming out about him. I did my due diligence to look up the things coming out about him, to verify it myself, and I couldn't. You know, even the case where he was convicted of 34 charges, I couldn't find the charges, what he was convicted of, like what was the business fraud, who did he commit fraud against, what was the fraud. You know, a general term is not a crime. It's just an overview of the underlying crime. Usually the underlying crime is going to tell you what your actual charges was. And he wasn't charged with that. It was just said 34 felony things that he wasn't jailed for. I don't even think he was fined for it. Yeah, even more interesting there. And then also you have the E. Jean Carroll case, which is a civil suit matter, not a criminal court case proceeding. I looked into that, and she apparently told a good story. Apparently she told her friends, who also was testifying, saying they were, I don't know how they're a witness to a crime, or to a matter if she told them about it. I mean, she could have lied to them, and then they just said, oh yeah, she told us. I mean, that's not proof. Again, even if he did do it, unfortunately, you have to prove it, and that's how a lot of cases go. So I'm not saying he didn't do it, but I'm saying the evidence for him to do it, it's not there. So I don't have no reason to believe that he did that. And the reason I say that and other things is because looking back further, you know, there was multiple times where he was around black people and they celebrated him. They didn't call him evil. They didn't call him a pedophile then. Why now? It comes to, you know, beg the question, what is he doing that they don't like, that they're now turning against him? And so it's all about who controls the media, controls the narrative. And so I think to where it's getting at is really just, can I assassinate your character without really having to prove it, just a lot of jargon, a lot of charged words, and then maybe people who don't even like you would just use that as regular everyday speech for themselves. A lot of times the people I'm around who say Trump's a racist and things of that nature, of course, as a Christian, I question it, like, okay, maybe they seen something I didn't. So I asked them, well, what did you find that made him sound racist? Oh, he said snow Mexicans. I said, oh, can you send me that clip? No, they reported he said it. Well, I looked it up, I couldn't find it myself. So maybe did you actually see the clip? Did he actually say it, or are you making it up in your mind to say he did? They don't like those kind of questions, and I'm not trying to, gaslight people. I want people to be sure what they're talking about. And that's kind of why I'm doing the YouTube thing, and why the Lord allowed me to really instructed me to do this, is because I'm the kind of person who's going to ask the questions, not to make it seem like you don't know what you're talking about. I'd rather you know what you're talking about, back it up with whatever you can back it up with as best as you can, and explain it in a way that makes sense. If you're just going to say, yeah, he's mentioned in the files, talking about the Epstein files, I say, okay, a name being written down on a letter does not admit guilt of any kind, does it? Does that mean he did anything? What is it saying? Okay, he went to the island. Okay, how many other people were on the island? They had these documents for years, and all of a sudden now he's in office, now they want to release it. I don't think that makes much sense to me, but it doesn't have to, because at the end of the day, I'm the guy who's just questioning things. And so my reaction to the CIA documents, it kind of proves that Trump wasn't totally lying about China and what their meddling affairs, but the ballot fraud and the elections being hacked has not totally ruled out either. It's just there's nothing else that come out to support that it actually happened, or suggested. This kind of suggested could happen, but it's kind of indirect. You'll be making an assumption based off this. But yeah, that's just my reaction. Please, if you feel indifferent, if you feel like this is just another distraction to what's going on, comment below. If you are obviously for Trump and whatnot, obviously this probably helps your case for why you believe him. But if you're against Trump, I do like to hear your opinion, why you're against him. What is he doing that you feel like, again, I'm gonna ask questions if you say something that is worthwhile to say, hey, please, explain what you're talking about. Repeating what somebody else says is not really a big I'm not calling an idiot, but it's not a big display of intelligence. It's really just a big display of a mockingbird. You just repeat or a parrot rather. You just repeat what's been said. And so, no, I'm not trying to be offensive. I just want to engage in honest conversation. So if you made it this far in the video, I thank you. I appreciate you when it ended, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.